All right, so I'll start with this guy. So I'll just create straight line from here going this way 225, and that's that. Then we know that the height is 37, so we'll come down 37, close up everything. Okay, so do we know this length from here to here? What? How do we get that for 7.5? Diameter of what? I can't find what you're saying. This one? Uh, oh, okay. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. From here to here is 130. 130. If the total is 225, take out 130. Right? Okay. So if you take out 130, half of it is going to be from here to here. Do you get? The total length from here to here is 225. Is this is it now? That's what goes all the way to this place, and the other one goes all the way to this place. So if you cut out this guy from here to here and from here to here, that's what we want to get. All right. So if you take off 130 from 225, we are left with calculate, please calculator. 47.5. So we divide by 47. Okay. Okay, so divide by 2. So that means we are creating a line from here just to know this place. 47.5. Just to get that part, that point. Yeah. So select this one, mirror it. Yeah, I'm listening.
So I use this to see if it's correct. From here to here, it's 88.
Yeah. Do you know?
Yes. So it minus 88 from 2 to 5. So 2 to 5 minus 88. 2 to 5 minus 88. So we got 137. So between here and here is 137.
Between where?
Here now and here. From here is 88.
Uh-huh.
So 88 minus 2 to 5.
2 to 5 minus 88.
Yes.
We are left with 137. Okay.
So if you divide it by 2, we have 68.5.
So that means 68.5.
68.5. So from here to here, I think they give us from here to here as it's an angle.
So that would be 47.5, 68.5 minus 7.5. 47.5. Will give us that thickness.
They're giving us this as, I don't know if it's the same thing or maybe it's more because I'm using this place as 15. So
It's the radius. It is that radius that is 15. This guy,
this angle, yes.
this curve, that is 15. Do you understand? That's what is 15. So do you get? All right. So let's look at how to do that. So we've been able to do this. So and also if you look at this curve here, let's just quickly do this one. All these edges here. We know that this place has a fillet radius, and for us to know the fillet radius is gotten here. We can see it here, which is radius 10. So let's just quickly do that and know that that's off. R for radius 10. So we fillet. Okay, sorry. There's a line here that I need to delete. Fillet R 10, and from here multiple. Thank you. That one is solved. So the next thing now is to look at, so we need to try and look for a way to get this 45 line. So we have a line that goes this way from this base here and coming down to give us this one to be 45. All right. So how we do that is there is a tool. We've not looked at that tool really, but then let's just look at it now. And that is this polar. The polar is more of, auto will make your line constraining the vertical and horizontal. So it's more of 90 degrees increment. So auto allows you to move at 90 degrees increment. Polar allows you to set your own angles. So if I come to this polar, so the thing between this auto and polar is that both of them can be on at the same time. It's either one is on, the other is off. So if I turn on this polar, notice this goes away. If I turn on this goes away. So both of them can be on. So if you turn on this polar and you click here, you have increment angle that you can go. So if you want to be able to go at 15 degrees increment, you can choose that. If you want to be able to go at 30 degrees, so we know that we are coming 45, so we can just go to 45 degrees increment. So, and then for me to do that, so what I'll do is I'll create a line from this guy. Just let the line go all the way this, just like that. It's from this base. Can you see? From this base to this guy. So if we have this here and we want to try and get that angle, so if I create a line and just pick anywhere somewhere here, hmm? If I start coming down, you will see the movement increment. You will see a green line that will snap once I get to that 45 degrees. Do you understand? So I came here, I chose increment at 45, 30. Which one? 23, this one. So if I start from 0, so let's show. I'm starting from 0. If I keep going up, you see as I have 23. Can you see in my number? If I go up again, it snaps again. All right. So what we want is we want to be able to move at 45 degrees. So we'll go 45 degrees. And another thing we also want to do is we are not going this angle. This is not the angle we are going. We are going the other way. So come from here, snap until you have that 45. So if you take away 45 from 360, sorry, is it 360? Yeah, or 270. You have 225, right? So this is the increment you are looking at. So what I'll just do is just draw this out to help us know where this is going to be. Am I making any sense? Okay. So now we have done that. So the next thing we want to do is to now try and see how we can start to work our way out, getting the shape. Okay. Um, start end. Is it start end angle? Where is the center? Which point? This, we can't choose this because I just use this to, no, there's no value backing up that that is where it's meant to be. Okay. What I'm saying is, I could have as well as say that I want to create a line from here or here. Are we still going to get that one? So let's see. So if I draw a line and say, okay, let's assume I want to come in, still using this polar. If it's parallel to this, then I think it works. So we can pick here, come down, parallel. Okay, I just pick this and try to draw that same line at that 45 degrees. All right, so I'm just trying to use it to troubleshoot to check. So my issue now is, let's try your approach. So you said we should use which of these options? Okay. So our start is here, right? I want to draw this one. Or which one do you want us to draw first? This one. Okay, so that means this is going to be our start. Yes, now. Or this place. Okay. This is our start. This is our center. And the angle is 225. Okay, so let's trim this. Yeah, it's 225. If we say 40, 45, it's going to draw it. Okay, so let's start center 45. Okay, still works. Still the same thing. So, anyways, so we have that. So the next one is to do this one also, right? Start center angle. So let's start center angle 45. Well done. It's working. Mm, I didn't get that. For that middle one. To can you come and show us for the 5? Yeah, I didn't offset. That's the center. Okay, hold on. Let's finish this one first and see what we have. So this one, let this one be here. Let's just finish up this. The radius for this guy is what? 15. So we'll do a fillet. F for fillet, R for radius 15. Then we'll pick from here to here. Okay. So line. I'm going to draw another line here. Just for the purpose of fillet. F for fillet, R for radius is still 15. So we'll take from here to here. Abi? So now the thing now is for this one, we already have, uh, so I'm going to bring this guy down. And the reason I'm bringing it down is so that I'll be able to get a midpoint.
There's something that you just talked about.
Okay.
And you know, how it is and
But we can mirror, but the 5,
you could, you know, like you almost you you're almost done. But you should not mirror it. I know you should do it. If you mirror it, it will come like this. And you already know how to edit this part. You know from here to here is 37, from here to here is 47. So 37 minus 47 is give us this one.
okay, let me copy this one. Okay, so saying for us to should mirror this guy, or like this. Okay, let's see. MI, this. So that means the mirroring will be 45, right? 45 degrees. Okay, so let's create the line first. Pick. So this is the line 225. So we select these guys, MI from mirror, pick here all the way to this place. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Do you get? So this is the 45 line. So if I had to pick this, this is what we're going to have. and which will default to, okay, that will default to 90. So we want to get 45. So if we divide 45 by 2, what do we have? 20 point, sorry, 22.5. So let's try and see 22.5. Do we have 22.5 included? So we can't, so this is where we need to now go back to our units. UN for units and go and change our position. We want to have to one decimal place. So if I come here now, we have 23. So this still brings, okay, so we have 22.5 here. But let me just show you how these things are added. Because you can actually add your own custom angle. So for me to add, I have to come to this track setting. Then I have options to add angle. So you notice under additional angle, I can delete some of these things. So if I decide I don't want this, I can delete all these ones that I've added in my previous class. So I can add a new one, 22.5. Okay. If I want to add to 2 decimal places, 3 decimal, I can add them. So let's say I'm adding 22.5, okay. So if I check this now, 22.5 is here. If I want to add additional one, for instance, I can say, okay, maybe I want to add 7.22, for instance. But I won't see 7.22. Do you know why? I only see 7.2. The reason why I won't see 22 is my unit is set to one decimal place. I want to see the accurate value. I have to go and change my unit to 2 decimal places. Do you get? All right. So now we've added 22.5. So let's just create a line at that angle. So click here. We were looking for half of that. So I think this is it. Okay. So this is 20.5 and this is 45. So if we do that mirror you said, MI for mirror, it should fit into this place now. Pick a point from here to this place. Then we can now just trim off this one. Okay, so I think so that's that. Okay. So now we've done this. The next thing is to do this one. All right. So we know that the diameter is 137. So the diameter is 137. Half of it. Well, I'm not good with calculation. So divided by 2, 68.5. 68.5. So that means right. So 68.5. If we divide this guy by 2, so let's divide 2, let's note that's 68.5, 225 divided by 2. So we take away 68.5, right? So it's going to give us 44. So that means, do you get what I'm trying to do? Eh? Where is which 88? This one. So what I'm trying to do is 44. Okay. From this midpoint, we'll come all the way here, 44. This is it. So while I'm noting this is, I'm going to also use this to create that arc. You get it? So let's see if we can use we can use radius anyways in this case now. So if you just click here, center point and radius, and that works. So we'll do the same thing on this other end. So we just create a line from this middle all the way to 4. From this midpoint to this place. Then I can trim. What else? I think that's everything. Just remaining this guy here. Okay, so let me see, starting from here this place, we have that. From here to this place, we have that. So we are told that from this endpoint here to this place is what? 47. We already have 37, so we're adding 10 to it, right? Okay. So let's see, how do we do that? Okay, if we create a line from this place, we can follow this. So there's another tool again. Let's talk about it. And that tool is object snap tracking. This guy. So object snap tracking, you notice that every time I try to create stuff, I can track an object. If I come to an object and I start drawing, I see this green line. That green line is what is actually tracking an object. I can actually utilize it to draw something. And this is what I'm trying to say. So if I want to draw something from this guy, but not on that edge. So let's say, for instance, I want to draw a line that is directly on top of it without clicking from here. I can just be in any of my draw tool, come to that edge, don't click, just try and trace on. So I can actually track from that point, click, then go all the way to this place and track from this point also and click. Do you understand? That's object snap tracking. If it was off,
Click on object snap tracking
to make sure, that's why I have that functionality. If this guy was off object snap tracking, I won't be able to track this guy. Still tracking. Okay, let's see. Still tracking. So that's what I'm going to actually use in this case. So if I create a line from this place, I can click and track all the way down, put the length 10, right? And do the same thing here, line, put the length 10, then join. So now that, oh man, no. This is, this doesn't look right. Can you see something? Eh? This one, I'm looking at this edge. This doesn't. Do you mean this one?
No. That one acting, those are supposed to come down immediately.
Yeah, that I okay. Let me show you what I'm seeing something now. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't look right. So this is what I'm seeing. If I trace this guy, trim this off, and trim this, right? This is what is meant to be. You can see that this doesn't look. Can you show me which line? I don't know. Sorry. This one. This one. Oh. Okay. Sorry. Are they? No, not only them. See now. These two lines and this one. But there's another line that should come that just this guy. That's what I'm saying. That is what this is what I'm trying to create here now. And this is not coming out straight the way it should be. You get what I'm trying to say. I know what you're saying. These ones will come and meet. But for us to catch, there is another line that if you trace this line, it will meet with this line. You get what I'm trying to show you. Yeah, tell us what, show us, please. Is either the approach is not correct for drawing that curve or something else.
So, where do I start from? There is this line we used to get.
Okay.
Then you got this line.
Yeah.
Then you also need a line here.
Yeah.
So if you want it to be, you have to, I did my own from this line. I did an offset, I got 37. Then I did an offset, I got 47.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I want this line here, and here, nicely enough, you have this step coming.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can trim from that side and just let that 47 be. So you now join the lines together. If you are
Can you come
joining,
and do it for sorry, I'm not getting what you're saying. Yeah.
where do I start from? I want
You
to
can erase everything. Just
sorry.
no, just no. That's it. Seven.
Yes.
That one is correct.
You're moving to click.
You have to click.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, so now that we've done that, you can escape and trim out this line that was here before. Trim out this one. Yeah. Now joining it will be easy to just be one. Still curve. Mine was straight though. No, it's not necessarily straight, but it's straight according to.
First of all, this line
Okay, sorry. Um, wait first.
the one before you
Let's delete. Okay. What angle? What angle? I joined that an angle. I joined at an angle. I can't remember the angle. Angle 45. I want to join at angle 45.
want
That's
to join this same correct. Same so we do the same thing here. Not that that's the inner part. Yeah. Yeah, now tracing of that one. Just click
es-
on tracing. You can move out, don't worry. Yeah. Just move out.
what I
Move
don't know
out.
where the line is.
No.
It's
The
not on
next
it.
is traced.
Okay.
There was one object trace. You trace. Let this one also trace, but you don't have to click on the no. Yeah, click there. Then you can now turn off.
Yeah. It looks more like it. Yes, it was at an
Then we now do
angle.
it this one. Because those ones move straight.
Which ones?
Yeah, this one. Same thing, this one. Then this will extend.
How can you extend it? When I tried extending, it was going off the angle.
No, not that extend. The extend command.
Okay.
EX. Just click the end.
Ash, I was drawing it and it was giving me issues. And
So extend this also.
yeah,
Yes.
went through a lot of stress.
Definitely yes, good.
But we still have another problem.
What problem is that?
So I'm seeing something here. There's a straight line going from this place. I think this place, this is where the curve stops. If you look at it there, this is where this curve, the curve starts from here, and stops here, not from this place. So
Doesn't
this
look
curve,
like that.
this curvature we are doing stops at this point. It stops at this place.
See,
So
it's
that
straight.
is square. Then from this place now goes straight. More of the tangent to it.
It's like straight from here.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Okay, so it stops there.
So the curve starts from this base and stops at this base. And this one just more of a straight line that goes. You understand? So this line is now more parallel to this. Parallel to this. Yes. It's parallel to this line. Yes. No, come down. That's it. Same thing comes. So that's what we're basing. And same thing, we have to still do that same thing here. Come out. Let it come out and show up better. It's going to click somewhere else. Just make sure you don't here. It's snapping somewhere else. Click first.
So draw.
Come out. Come all the way and try and trace. Go up a little bit. Maybe you should zoom out. Zoom out a little bit. No, out. Roll towards yourself now. It's fine. Okay. So that means you have to do the same thing. Draw a line here so that you can know where this guy is. Then you can draw parallel line to this guy. You get the whole thing now. So that means this curve is not supposed to be curved, it's supposed to be straight. So
This
trim off
one.
all of them.
All the curves.
All of them. The ones inside, all of these ones. Just hold on, click it. The very simple way, click on an empty space, move your mouse, cross it and click. Don't trim off. So we now draw a line straight.
Here.
Yes, yeah, definitely not. Let me touch this line. Let me touch the line. Since this one is just
It's touching it now.
as it come here, I mean,
Okay.
that's it's not straight. Here. Click. Escape. Do the same thing. So this is what we should have done.
Well,
Do you see that now? So if you have to try and do the curve, this is where you see it.
So it's looking straight.
If you have to follow this curve, but from there it's straight up. And the same thing here should be straight. So
That means I did rubbish.
That's what we missed. Yeah, we can now finish up by huh? What? So we can finish up since we don't need this anymore. We can this guy can go. This also can go. Trim of that. So this one will go out. This will go out. This will go. This is not meant to even be there. This will clear off. This will clear off. This one will go. This should be dash line, but you can always come back here. This will go. What? These lines are big. Yeah, they are construction lines. They are more of a hidden lines. But once we get to property, we'll see that. So now we are done with this, we can now go and add this hatch. So that's just pretty much. Like, what is not bringing? It's not bringing what out. So come here. And maybe this is going to be 1.5. So what I think? Eh? I think that's it. Then this inner line will just the same approach. You have this, and then finish up. So Mr. Falabi, thank you for um, that approach you gave us. That mirroring thing. We would have just stressed ourselves. So from here to here, escape and bring this back. Then from here we can just do that curve. This guy. We know starts, we know end, then we know the radius or diameter. So can just finish up. Still 0.5. Why is it not bringing this? Start and okay, so let me just use start center end. So we're starting from here, center, and then so we can use a line to finish up. Just go. So this one will be construction, will be hidden line. So can we move on to what we have for today? Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are done with our modified tools. That's all of them. Then we want to go to annotation tool. So annotation tool. So when we say annotation, we know what that means. We want to put in text, dimension, leaders, and all that. So, but then I will not be looking at annotation tool from my home tab. So the reason why I will not be looking at it here is because home tab has just a few of those tools that we can see. So instead of me using the annotation tool from the home tab, I will have to go to its own tab, which is up here. All right. So I will have to move out of my home tab to the annotate tab and we together. So I don't want to use the panel to talk about this topic. So I will go to the annotate tab itself. Yeah. So instead of me picking those things from this place, I will just go to its own tab. Then we can talk about. So if I go to the tab, you notice we have our text panel, we have our dimension panel, center line, leader, table, and so on and so forth. So let's pick them. So the first one is the text. We have two types of text in AutoCAD that you can create: single line text and multi-line text. So what single line text basically is just a way of typing such that from the word single line, it continues writing. If I if I click and start writing, it continues writing off my screen. It doesn't have that intelligence to come down to the next line. So it doesn't know whether there is margin or no margin. If I keep typing, it keeps typing until I press enter before it comes down to the next line. So that means you treat this text line based. Do you understand? So if you are typing, it's typing on a straight line. If you want to come to the next line, you have to press enter for the cursor to come to the next line. Then you can continue typing. Right? So that's one thing with single line text. The other thing with single line text is that it takes the text style that AutoCAD currently gives us, or particular text style that is currently set. That is what the single line text uses. So when we talk, we are still going to look at the text style in a moment. So text style is just a way of you setting the font style that you want to have for the text. Talking about the size of the text you want to use, the color you want to use, the font style you want to use. So you can create a style that will hold all these properties together. So single line text will take all those properties. So right now, what I'm trying to say in essence is that if you look at this text, if you come up to this place where you see this standard, this is the current text that we're using. So if I'm to use single line text, it's going to take the function or the property of this guy. That's what it's going to use. I will illustrate. So if you click here, you notice we have two types, annotative and standard. All right? Okay, but let's look at this text first. Single line text. So we are going to talk about multi later. So single line text, if I click on single line, here, where you have this multi-line, you click on the arrow under it, you're going to see single line. If I click, AutoCAD will tell me to specify start point for my text. So where do you want to start your text from? So let's assume I want to start from here. The next thing it's going to ask me is to specify the height. And it's proposing a height for me. So let me accept the height. Because as of now, we don't know what height we want to use. We don't know. That's the truth. But let's just accept that. It's also asking for orientation. Orientation is how it's writing it. So it's giving us 0 degrees. So that means it's going to write it horizontal. If I want the text to be written upwards, I'll choose 90. If I want it to be written at an angle, I'll choose the angle. So let's say I choose 45. That means the text will be written diagonally like this. Do you understand? So let's go with that.
You can also choose, you can choose, you want to restrict it to straight or an angle, because you have to click on that angle. So that's why you always yes. Click on that.
It doesn't affect. This is what really matters. Even though if I have this auto on, if I choose a particular angle here, it's asking for rotation angle. If I choose a particular angle which is not horizontal vertical, let's say for instance I choose 30 degrees and I start typing, it's going to write it at angle. Do you understand? So putting on my auto mode doesn't affect the direction at which it's going to write it. It is this angle that I choose here that will affect it. Do you understand? So let's go with angle 0 so that I can write it on horizontal. So I'll set that. Then the next thing it's saying now is text, meaning I can continue writing. So I can just say are you saying that? So I will continue, it will continue like this till I don't want it. If I want to come to the next line, I'll have to press enter. So if I press enter now, look what happens. It comes down to the next line. Then I can continue again. Do you understand? If I press enter, it goes to the next line, meaning it wants me to continue in the next line so I can type anything I want. Then if I press enter, it goes to the next line. If I leave this next line, if I leave it empty and I press enter, it's going to close that command. Because it's going to assume since that place is empty, that means you don't want to do anything anymore. Can you see? So you can see how small it is now using 2.5 height. That was why I said we don't know the particular height we want. But let's just work with what we have here. So now look at what we have. It's taking. So how does it know what particular font it should use? Is whether it should be bolded, what color it should use. Is because of this current standard style we're using. So if I change this to another style, let's annotate it for instance, and I run the command again. So because this type of it has its own intelligence, so we can always choose what scale we want this to be. But then that's by the way, if we just accept this and I click where I want to start from, and it's asking for specify paper height. So all these ones are more of other settings for this annotative. So if we choose anything we want to, you notice that the information is asking for this case is different from when we were in standard. So it's taking the property of this particular stuff. So if I just keep pressing and I type and this, enter, enter and stuff. You know, see, this even is smaller than for standard. Because before creating this new one, I had to switch to annotative. So it's taking the standard, the settings for that annotative. Do you understand? So if I want to go back to the standard, I have to just come to this place, switch back to standard. Then now that I'm back at standard, if I go to my single line and type, you notice what it's asking, it's just height. It's not asking for all this scale anymore. If I press enter, and I type, press enter, enter. You notice it's back. Do you understand? So anytime you are using single line text, it doesn't give you setting for you to choose your own setting. You just take the setting of the particular current text that we have. Alright? So that's single line text. So let's look at multi-line text. So if you come to multi-line text from the word multi-line. So it's just more of your word processing software. So if I run multi-line text, it's going to ask you to create a margin. So that's the first thing it's going to ask you to create a margin on which your text will run. So once it gets to the end of that margin, it comes down by itself. You don't have to press enter for it to come down. Do you understand? That's one thing. The other thing with multi-line text, it now opens a variety of settings for you. You can change your font style, you can change size, you can change a whole lot of things. So if I go to multi-line text, notice what it's asking me to do. Specify first corner point, as if I want to create a rectangle. So if I make this my first corner point, it's asking for the opposite corner point. If I make this, so what I'm creating right now is the margin. So if I don't want my text to be more than this margin, I'll just click, and that's the margin. And notice up there, I now have a lot of settings. So I can now decide, okay, I can type, do you understand? Then once I keep typing and it gets to that margin, notice it comes down by itself. I don't have to press enter. That's one thing. If I press enter, I can go to another paragraph, just in the same stuff. I can decide, okay, now this paragraph I'm on because I have a whole lot of settings. I can say, okay, I want to change my text font. I don't want that font. Now I now have power over the font to use. I can say, okay, maybe you should use this particular font. Maybe I can type anything. You notice the font changes. I can continue, type, choose another font. Let me just choose, let's say this one. I don't know what it looks like. You can see that I can switch from font to font. I can even decide, okay, for this guy, I can highlight it, increase the size by coming to this size. I can make this 5. Do you understand? For this one, maybe I want this one to be bolded. I can select this. And notice I can't bolding it. The reason I can't bolding this is because of the type of font I'm using. So that means for me to be able to bold, I have to choose a font that permits or that allows bolding effect. So if I come here and look for just random fonts, which would, so in this case, this will allow me to bolding this, and I can also still increase it. So if I make this 15, you can see, so you can do a lot of things with multi-line. You can even change color. So if I feel that this one I want to change the color, I can come here to my color section here, click, choose a particular color. So where is it? Okay, this is it. So I can choose a particular color I so wish to use.
How do you manage this?
There is a value tab here. This is where you increase the font size. Okay? You highlight what you want. Just like your normal Word, Microsoft Word. Just highlight what you want. Once you highlight it, you can even make it underlined. You can make it superscript, subscript, anyhow you want. Do you understand? And you can do all your uppercase, lowercase. So it's more like you are in your do you understand? You also have option to add your symbols. You can add symbols. Okay? So in the case, if you want to label, you can utilize this for labeling. So in the case of this guy now, where you have your diameter stuff, you can actually use it. Add your symbol. You can come to the symbol. You have your degree, you have your diameter. So if I choose diameter, you can see that symbol. So you can see, let me just choose from this place. So if I come here and choose my diameter, you can see that. Do you understand? So you have a lot of symbols. You can even put column if you so wish. You have bullets. Just name it. So once you are, what? Yeah, you are going to look at table today. No, no, no. Multi-line text is just for text. There is another tool for table, creating table. So once you are done, just close and that's it. You notice there's a section for table. We are coming here, we are still here, we're still going to do this. Right? So if you want to create table, we have tools for table. So that's the difference between single line text and multi-line text. And also, you notice we don't really have, so if I want to create my text, what I always do is always have my drawings. Really, you want to have all your drawings first before you can start labeling, right? So let's assume these are the drawings. I'm done with this drawing, all of them like this. And these are what I want to label. So this is what I do as a practice. For me to look at a particular site that I want my text to be, I always use line to check for the height. So I'll just use line, put on my auto mode. And so if my intention is I want my text to have this particular height, I'll just look at the value I'm having there. You can see 16.3, so I can just say 15. So that means if I'm to put a text that will be this big, the font size should be like 15. And I'll be sure that for this particular drawing, if I'm putting a text of that size, I will be able to see it. Do you understand? So, so if I would want to do that now, in the case of a single line text, this is what I would have done. After I've done that, to check that stuff. Then I can just come to single line text. It's asking me for where I want to place this. Let's assume I want to place it here. Then it's asking for height. So I want the height to be 15, then orientation. So let's assume I want this to go at 45 degrees. I'll say 45 degrees. Then I can start typing. So it's asking me to start typing, so I'll just say, okay. I don't know why it's not 45 degrees is supposed to be. Okay, so let's see single line text. So you can see that that 15 works. Oh, okay, I didn't type 45, I typed 0.5. So I'll just say 45 now. Yes. So it should go, regardless of the fact that I went to type 0.5 instead of 0.5. So you can just, you get the okay, press enter. Even though my auto is on. Okay, so this is still here. What if I want to create my own custom style? I showed us all these styles here. What if I want to create my own style, my custom style, and put my own settings so that I will be sure that okay, all the settings I'm using is what I have. How do we do that? By the way, the shortcut for single line text is text, normal text. And the shortcut for multi-line text is any text. Right? Is it too cold? It's too cold. Ross, please. we don't like. We don't like is so the shortcut for multi-line text is M text, single line text is text. So for us to set our text star, it also has a shortcut, text star. And another way you can load it is by clicking on this dialog box, this arrow that points down here. It will take you to your text tab. Or by clicking on this arrow here, you are going to see manage text tab. Any of the options works. All right. So if I click here and manage text tab comes up, so it's showing us the two styles that we have. So we want to create our own, right? So what I'm going to do is under my standard, I'll have this standard selected. I won't start from the standard. So I'll select it and I click on this new. If I click on new, it's going to tell me what name I want to give it. So I'll just say this is going to be Joe T star. T for text. So let me just say T dash star. All right. So once I click on OK, it's going to add that Joe text star here. Then you notice it now gives me room to change this stuff. So I can come here and start to change the font style that I want to use. So let's say I want to use, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. So let's just pick one style, one random style like that. So let's say Vanny. Then another thing is what font style do you, is it bold, regular? Let's leave it at regular. Then the height. Remember I said I want my height. So I know that I want my height to be 15. So this is why I'll just choose 15. Then I can make it upside down if I want, from backside, anyhow. Then the width factor is the spacing in between, or the width of this guy. I can decide, okay, maybe I want to stretch it 2 times this size. Do you understand? But this is all the settings are there. I'll just leave it at 1. Then oblique is a way of adding more of an italic to your text. So if I say I want an oblique angle of 10, you can see 20, 45, you can see. But let's go with the 0. And now I'm done with this. I will just apply. Then once I apply this and I close, I've created GeoTexter. You can see it here. So now that I have GeoTexter, if I go and create my single line text now, it's going to take those fonts. Notice once I click on single line text, it tells me to specify start points here. It will not tell me to specify height anymore because I've already inputted value on my height. If I left that height to be 0, it will ask me to put in height value because I've added height value. So it's not asking for height value anymore. It's just asking for orientation. So if I say 0, then enter. You can see that the font looks quite different from this one I had here. So let me even move it close so you see. You can see it now. So in terms of size, it's quite different, and in terms of font, it's different. So this, just to buttress that point that I said, that anytime you are trying to run a single line text, it takes the style that's currently on, whatever setting that's what it takes. Do you understand? Right. But I don't really use single line text. I use multi-line text because that allows me to do a lot of things. So that is text. So the other thing we're going to look on that text is it's not enough for you to just type. There will be times you make errors, typographic errors. We have a lot here. You can see them. You can see all of them. So you don't want to leave it this way. It doesn't make sense. It's possible for your drawing to be very fine, but text will turn people off. So we can also check our spelling. And there's an icon for that. This ABC here allows us to check spelling. All right, the shortcut is SP, spell. So if I click here, it's going to load this dialog box for check spell. Then the first thing you notice is it's asking you where you want to check. You can see where do you want to check. Do you want to check for the entire drawing or for current workspace or layout, or you select object? So if I say I want to check for the entire drawing, it's going to look at this whole drawing, all the text, and start checking correction for them. But I can start say, okay, I want to just select a section for me to check the spelling. So let me just select a section because I don't want to wait that long for it to check for the entire drawing. So I'll just say select. So anytime you click on select object or selected object, I'll have to click on this guy in order for me to select the object I want to check spell. So I'll click on this selected object. It will go away. Then I can now select the object that I want to check my spell on. So if I select these guys, I press enter. It has copied that into the clipboard. All right. So that means once I run this check spell now, it's only going to run it on this selected object. All right. So I have that. So the other thing I also want to do after this is to set my dictionary. What dictionary do I want to use to check this spell? American English is quite different from British English, so very important. So this is where you choose your dictionary. Eh? Is there several languages now? See, you have American English, British English, you have Canadian English. You can check, but Yoruba is not there. If Yoruba was there now, man, I would have loved it. Or Igbo, or Hausa. Eh? Okay, let me close. This ABC. Or you can run the command. SP. Same thing. So it's this ABC. Yeah, spell, but SP is the shortest. All right, but it's there. But you just click on the ABC, this ABC icon. Once you click on this ABC icon, it loads this guy. All right. So I don't want to do entire drawing. I want to do selected object. Like I said, I'll click here. Oh, no. Sorry. I already went to start. Selected object. Then I'll click here to pick the object that I want to check spell on. Let's just pick this guy. Press enter. Then the next thing I want to do is to choose my dictionary. So let's go with our British English. So once we are done with British English, that's all. We'll just start. So this is what happens. If I click on start, Mr. Afolabi, look at it please. If I click on start, it's so fast. Hmm. Hmm. It's meant to check this guy. Let's see first whether it's going up. It's meant to go. Okay, it's going up. So the reason why, when I was selecting it, I selected from down up. So it's going up. So if I had done like this, it will come down. Okay. So I think that's new to me. I don't know why, but then it's fine. So let's do it from top down. No, I first came here and I said, where do you want to check? Do you want to check for the entire drawing or you want to check a selected object? So I don't want to check for the entire drawing. I don't have that time. Just to select objects. If I say selected object, then I have to click on this guy. If I say entire drawing, there's no point clicking on this guy. I don't know why this. So it's just going to check for the entire drawing. Here, if I click on selected object, I have to click on this to go and select the object that I want to check spell for. Once you select them, press enter to confirm. Then you now go and choose the dictionary you want. So once you choose the dictionary you want, just start. So if I click on start, it goes. Don't worry, let's just continue. So start. So look at what happens now. It tells me that this is the incorrect word that it can't find this in the dictionary. So it's now proposing some words in the English dictionary. Maybe I intended typing fuga. Do you understand? So if my intention was to type this, I would just change.
There's something I want to ask you. Maybe you can set the way words work, and just MS Word work. You can just set all this before you go start writing. So as you are typing,
if you know words that you want, you're going to be using. We'll talk about that. How you can add your own words. Okay. Mhm. No, this one will not. This one will not. You can't. You have to finish your drawing, type your, put your text, then now spell check. Yes. It's not Microsoft Word now. Oh, you still have to bring Microsoft Word. Maybe, maybe later it can be incorporated, but for now, no. So I have to still go through this process. So if my maybe I wanted to add juggle, that's what I wanted to type in. I'll just say juggle and change. If I click on change, it goes to the next one. You notice it has changed this to juggle. It goes to the next one. Okay, maybe I intended adding, making it add, so just say ads. And this one maybe folk, I'll just say this change. Then it goes on. So this one, I actually intended typing again. So let's see if we have again here. So we have again. Do you understand? We can ignore. We can add that. So in this case for this guy, what if I feel that this is just a Nigerian name, like a Nigerian name, I don't. So I'll just say ignore. You understand? So you can ignore all of these words. So in the case of this word now, where the difference between ignore and ignore all is that if you have typed this guy more than one time, you can just say ignore all. So if I choose ignore all instances of this guy will be ignored, starting from this. So then if I say ignore all and the next time it gets to any word that is this, it will say ignore. So it won't highlight it. Yes, you will ignore them. But the thing with that is that it will ignore them for this section. If you run the command again, if you close the command and run it again, it will still find you as error. Do you understand? So let me just show us. So let's say this guy is meant to be Falabi, and this one also. So we have to have Falabi now. So let's say here, Afalabi. Okay, so let's run our spell check again. Select objects. So we want to use any dictionary. Let's just start. So we have this. Let's just ignore this. Ignore this. It will say Afolabi. Let's say ignore all Afolabis. So it goes to the next one. It has recorded this guy. So next one, ignore. You notice we are coming all the way up now. Let's ignore this. It jumps Afolabi because we've said ignore all. You understand? So even if we keep ignoring, it will come to this. After this one now, it's meant to bring this Afolabi, but it will jump Afolabi, come to this down. You didn't even see this one, but you see the whole idea. So what I was saying is that if we now ignore all and it's saying everything is checked and we close, hmm, we have to run this thing again. So if we run it again and do the same thing, select object, press enter, start, ignore. It will still say available. So it's just for this section, it's going to ignore, even if you say ignore all. So if you run it and rerun it again, it's just it. So how can we do it such that it will always ignore it? Even if I close this AutoCAD and run AutoCAD again later, it will ignore Afolabi. And that is adding it in the dictionary. So let's just ignore all, ignore all, ignore all, ignore all, everything. Then we have options to go to the dictionary. So if we go to our dictionary, we can add our own words. So I can say, okay, here I know I'm going to be writing Lagos. I'll add. Coming to Can we please try and add it on our own system? I think the last class, so I noticed they couldn't add in their dictionary for 2022. But for 2018, I was able to add. But for 2022, I couldn't add. So let's see whether we can add on our own system too. But this is how we can add. We just put a word and add that. Should add it. Sample course, and I will choose that. So I should be able to add now. So there's something to add. So if I put Afolabi now, so the reason why I couldn't add was because I wasn't checking this. So from here I cannot. I just created one. So I click here. I went to manage, and I created one. I can call it any name I want. So let me say, let me just add like three stuff, three more. I'll show you how it looks like. So if I come here and I say Esther is going to be added, Lagos is going to be added. I want to add waiting the so. Shabby. So let's assume these are the things I want to add. So now I've added these guys, I can close. If I run this command now, Afolabi will never, it will not be seen as an error message because it's now part of my dictionary. I don't need to ignore. So if I come here and I come and choose, let me just select this, just this place, since just to show us. And I start. It will see this, fine, ignore, see this, it will jump Afolabi by itself because it's in the dictionary. So let me go and open the dictionary. I want to show you another way you can add or populate words inside that dictionary. So where I save that myself, you can actually create a new one, save it somewhere and bring it. So if I go to where I save that dictionary, is my desktop, which is, this is it here. So I can actually open this guy with notepad. So I can just say open with notepad. So if I open this guy with notepad, you are going to see the way it's written. You can see. So it's just written like that. So I can decide to now add more words. I can say Chidima. What's your tribal name? Hmm? J. O. Are you from Edo? No. Okay. So please give me like, just give me words that are not English words so that I can just add for us to see. Yeah, no. Eh? Ah, she's thinking. Uh, so, uh, your company name too. You know you're going to be using your company. So let's assume you have a particular company name that you can be using. You can just Autodesk something like that. So let's just say that. So now that I have this guy, I can save it and close. Just Control S, close. Then if I come to this place now and I run the command, go to my dictionary, it would have added all these things here. So I actually don't have to add them in this place. And it will also arrange them alphabetically. So you notice all these things are added. So another way I can add is just populate outside AutoCAD. So anytime I run AutoCAD, automatically it will be there. So I can just run anything. If I come here and start to change this, so let's assume this one. I come here and say waiting the solve for, let's just say that is it. I don't know why I keep typing O for O. All right, so if I try to run this guy now, selected objects and I run. I won't see this is the only thing I'm going to find error with. Ojú Ẹlẹ́gbà. Oh, I think it's so it's suggesting something for me. Can you see? Capital letter O. So I will just choose the one I want, change, and it's going to change, and we just ignore. That's it. Do you understand? So that's how you can add your own words into it, and then that's pretty much it for text. How you can create your own style, check your spell, add your dictionaries, and all that. So the next thing we have is our dimension. So when you create your drawing, there's need for you to start adding dimension to your drawing. Like so you can see in the case of this guy. So let's assume we've created this, we want to dimension this. How can we do that? So we have different types of dimensioning in AutoCAD, and that can be seen here. If you under this place where you have your linear, if you click here, these are the different types of dimensioning we have. You have linear dimension, align, angular. So linear dimension is used to give dimension to a straight object, more of a linear object, vertical and horizontal. So if the object is vertical, I use linear for it. If it's horizontal, you can use linear. But when you have an object that is inclined, linear is not the appropriate dimension to use. You use a line dimension for it. And I'll show you why linear is not the appropriate dimension. Then we also have for angular dimension that gives angle. We have all these things are self-explanatory, so let's just check them. If I go to linear and I want to dimension this object, I'll show you two ways of dimensioning objects. So before we can start, before we just talk about it, let me just create a line here. And then okay, so let's look at it. Linear dimensions. If I click on linear dimension, then you notice what AutoCAD tells me. Specify first extension line origin. First extension line origin or select object. So for me to do my dimensioning is, okay, so if I want to get dimension of a particular object, so it's actually from here to here, right? So what AutoCAD is asking me for is the 2 points that makes up that length. That's what it's asking me to specify. So the first point will be in the case of this, the second point will be this. In fact, it's asking for next point. So this is the first point, second point, I'll click. Once I'm done, it's telling me to move where I want to put this dimension. So if I move it somewhere here, you notice what we have. So this is dimension. And also the dimension is also small. Can you notice it's very small? Just the same way we had for the text. Very considerably small. So you have to also know the size you want for the dimension first of all, before you can start putting dimension. Which is why your dimension style is also important. Alright? But I just want to show us all these things before we go and set our own dimension style and try and put it back. So that's one way by clicking those 2 points. What if I don't want to be clicking points. I just want to pick the object and let AutoCAD pick the points for me. So how to do that is if I click on dimension and it tells me to specify extension line. Notice there is an option here or select object. I told you that for you to pick that option, what do? You press enter. So if I choose enter, all I need to do is just select object to dimension. So I don't need to go to any of this end. Just select anywhere on the object, then move up. Do you understand? Hmm? So I can do the same thing for this. Since I'm still using linear, linear also works for vertical line. So I'll press enter to select object base instead of points. Select this, go to the direction I want. Okay? Do you understand? You don't understand? Because I see the way you're looking at me.
Because I think you have to draw, you have to have a, what's it called, a line before you use this.
Yeah, and if you want to dimension, you are dimensioning objects now. So you have to have objects for it to. So let me create something small so the dimension will not seem too small. Okay, so let's assume I want to dimension these guys. So okay, if I go to my linear dimension, choosing the select Mr. Falabi. So instead of me picking this point, I want to just select this object and bring up the dimension. So I'll just say select object, press enter to accept that select object. So it's telling me to select, yeah, the type of dimension I want, which is linear. And it's telling me to pick extension line. We've looked at that. Picking the extension line means you are picking the 2 points that you want to dimension. Then you can now move the dimension where you want it to be. But I now said that what if I don't want to be picking points? I just want to pick objects and let AutoCAD get the points for itself. So that's where object is here, option. So I'll just press enter to accept that select object option. So once I do that, it's telling me to select object to dimension. Notice the word object. So that means I can only select one object. I can't select multiple objects. The window selection. I can't do window selection. It knows that it's just one object, one segment. So you know if you want to do window selection, you have to do it on an empty space.
How do you even select?
Read your prompt.
Okay, select.
Can you read the prompt? In your own case.
Specify extension library select.
Or select object. You see that select object is in a bracket. And I told you that for you to choose that bracket, what do? You press enter. Yeah. So if I select this guy now, you notice it doesn't tell me to pick another object. So it's just one object. I will show you how to pick multiple objects. All right, so that's that. Then you can also apply it for vertical objects. Okay. Hmm? Okay.
If your what's it called? If your diagram is an
Like this. It won't. So that's what I was explaining. If you try to use linear for an inclined object, it won't give you. You're going to be having two different values. Look at it. If I move towards horizontal, look at the value I'm having 32.04. If I move up, I'm having 26 points. So why am I having two different values? So it's not possible for one object to have two different values. So what is happening now is that it's only giving us the altitude. So that means I'm tracing both to the x-axis. What is the distance from that point to this point? If you trace it to the x-axis. So this is what we need. So we have this line. And this is our axis. If you trace this line to this x-axis, what is this distance? And if you trace it to the y-axis, what is this distance? That's what we are looking at. So, measuring at this, you tell that this distance is greater than this distance, right? Just looking at this, it's larger than that. So, that's why you have two different values. So, it's not giving you the length of the object per se, it's just giving you the distance when you trace on the x-axis and also on the y-axis.
Like when you select concept, you can't do multiple.
You can't. I will explain that later. One by one, yeah. I'll show you how to do multiple. Just I'm taking it one step at a time. So, which is why this will not work. Linear will not work for an inclined object. So, what works for an inclined object is aligned dimension. Okay. So if I go to align dimension and I do the same thing, select objects. So if I pick the object now, look at what happens. The dimension is parallel to this object. Either way, if I come to this side or this side, I can't go horizontal. So this gives me the actual length of this line. Do you understand that? All right, so let's look at angular. So if you go to angular dimension, so angular dimension requires you to get angle that makes up an arc, circle, lines, or vertex. So we have lines, so it's asking me to pick lines. So if I pick this line and this other line and go towards the direction I want, it gives me the angle in between them. If I go outside towards this place, it gives me this angle, this angle. So it's just drawing an imaginary line going that way, imaginary. So, but we want to get the angle in between them. That's what this does. Hmm? Angular dimension. Then you have the next one, which is arc length. So arc length is used for when you have an arc. So let me quickly create one small arc here. Okay, so if I come to arc length, it will tell me to select arc or polyline segment. You remember for polyline, there's a segment that allows us to create arc. So if we have a polyline and that segment, that arc segment of polyline, we can also choose that. So if I click on this arc, it tells me so this is the arc length. All right. We also have option to get the radius, diameter, and so on. So if I check radius, I can is in the same drop down. This same drop down, that's where the arc length is. Just under angle. So using it is simple. Just select the object you want. You are not dragging, you are moving. You are moving, then clicking when you are done. Okay, so the next thing we have is we have our radius. So you can also get the radius of objects. So either I want to place the radius here or inside. You can place the radius wherever you want. That's your phone. How did you get there? Ah, and got to that place. Okay, so we also have diameter. So you can also get diameter of an object, and you can see the sign, the symbol for. Then we have jogged. So what this does really is not, it gives you radius of a circle or an arc. But you notice for this radius, okay, let me just create one small circle so you see, you would really understand what I'm saying. So let's bring up the radius first. If I select this circle, You can see the way, you notice that the radius is drawn from this center point. The radius dimension is drawn from this center point. If I use jogged, what jogged would do is that it allows me to choose where I want to start drawing from. I can tell say I want to start drawing from here. I mean the dimension line. That's just what job does. But it still gives you radius of whatever object. So if it tells me to select object, an arc or a circle, if I select this circle, it tells me to specify center location override. So instead of me having the center location here, I want to override my center location somewhere here. Then it's telling me to specify the dimension line location. So this is where I want the dimension line to be. Then the next thing is specify the jog location. So maybe the location of the jog will be somewhere. So you can move. So that's just what it does. Gives you radius value still, but then I'm just overriding the dimension location, the center location of the dimension. That's what that is. Then the last one is your ordinates. You know what ordinates are? Coordinate system. You want to trace points. So if I want to know the x ordinate of this center point, that's what ordinate does. And I also want to know the y ordinate, the x and y value. So if I come to this ordinate, it tells me to specify feature location. I want to check this feature location. Then it's asking me to specify the endpoint. I can get the x datum, y datum. Do you understand? So if I come towards this direction, this is giving me the y datum because I'm tracing this to the y axis. And if I'm coming down, you notice the value I'm having is quite different because I'm tracing this to the x axis. So you can have two different values, one here, another one here. Okay, so this is more of a GD&T stuff, but it still gives you the x and y value. So that's the whole simple thing about that. But then I'm going to delete all these things. Let's now go another step deeper into this dimensioning. And by the way, dimensions also have shortcuts, and the shortcut is simple, not really hard. Mr. Falabi that is saying doesn't want dimension the shortcut. But it's easy to move fast. So the general dimension, the general shortcut of dimension. So if you now want to now choose any of the options, maybe linear dimension, angular dimension, lines, all you just need to do is add this linear dimension. Hmm? Why go through that process? You now start picking. Why go through the process? Why not just type everything in the code? So here, for the outline, DML, DMRA for radius, DMDI for diameter. Do you understand? DMAN for angular. So you're just picking the first two letters and this one. But anyone you want to use, that you feel you're comfortable with. All right, so let's go back to this. So we have this dimension. So this dimension allows us to create dimension with single command section. So if I click on dimension, so this is me using the command now, the command. So you can see it tells me to specify object or specify extension line, blah, 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 to get dimension for. So you notice if I come to this guy, it brings up the dimension. If I come to this side, it brings up the dimension. So this is more of a smart dimension. Okay, so if I click here, I don't want to trace, I don't want to snap to any of the midpoints. So if I trace here, you can see that I can go towards the direction that I want this dimension to. So whichever direction you also want, you also determine where it's placing. So this is more of a smart dimension. You just click here, go to this place, click, and where do you want to place? Come here. Come to this one, click, where do you want to place this? Come here. Come to this guy, click, come towards direction. So this is just more of a fast way of dimension. Then we now also have this quick dimensioning also. Okay, the reason why this is so if we use this guy and we come to this object, you can see that it's quite hard for us to do angular dimension. So let's see. So if you come to quick dimension, it's going to tell you to select geometry to dimension. So if you select this geometry, so the difference between this guy now and the normal dimension is that this one only allows you to do linear and align. But this quick dimension takes everything together. You can do your linear, you can do align, you can do angular, you can do radius, you can do everything. All you need to do is just pick whatever object you want and press enter. It's going to know which one to use. You get what I'm trying to say. So let me delete all these guys to show you what I'm trying to say. So let me delete this also. If I delete, so if I go to my quick dimension and it tells me to select geometry, if I select this geometry, I press enter, it's going to know that okay, where do I want to place this? Click. It knows that this is linear dimension. If I go back to quick dimension and I select this one, press enter, you notice what I have. So it's still trying to do linear dimension. Okay, so I think that doesn't work for that. So let's look for this. Let's look at this other one. So if we click on quick, I will select these two lines. We press enter. Oh man. Uh, so I think this also is still giving us linear. So then I don't know why they brought this anyways. So let me not misguide us of this. But it used to be that quick dimension, once you select the object, it gives you the particular type of dimension you want. So I don't know why specify the line. So it's saying radius, press enter to accept the radius, specify the dimension line position. That's what I use for this now, quick. I use quick for this, so I don't know why that one is. Okay, so let me go back. Let me rerun it again. Select the two geometry that I want to check. Press enter. Okay, so radius, diameter, datum, edit. So I don't think angle is part of this ones. Because if angles was here now, we would have just chosen angle, but it's just saying continue. Okay, so let me just go to the next one, which is this guy. You know, that continue that we have here, we would see the usefulness here now. So what the continue does is we have this continue and baseline, and continue is more of people have. So let's say we have an object. I want to get dimension for this object. You know you get a dimension from here to here, right? What continuous states is that what it says that the next dimension will continue from where you stop, the next one continues from where you stop, and the next one continues from where that stops. So you just get the dimension. This is for continuous. Then we now have another one called baseline. So what the baseline does is that when you get your dimension from these two points, for you to get the next one, it goes back to the starting point where you measure this and get the dimension. This one. So for this next one, it goes to the starting point, get the dimension for this, and for the last one, it goes to the starting point, get the dimension. So this one is the baseline, while this is continuous. You see the difference? Continuous will continue dimension from where the first one stopped, or from where the initial one stopped. So the next one will continue from where they stopped, the next one will continue from where they stopped. But for baseline, it's always reference where you start from. And there's something you need to be mindful of. And that is for you to run any of these two guys, You need to have one dimension correctly on, right? So if I'm to have that dimension on, it is important to note that where you are picking first will be the base point. Am I making any sense? So if my intention is to do the dimension for continue for baseline for all of them like this, and I go and start picking from here to here, is here. So if I go to this linear dimension and I instead of me starting from this place, I go and start from here all the way to this place and I move up. Do you see the order at which I pick? If I go to this place now and I say continue, notice what is happening. The continue is now starting from here instead of it to start from this place. And so the reason why it's not starting from this place was because I started picking from here to this place. So if my intention is to go this way, this would work. Do you understand? I'll just keep clicking this way. But in this case, it doesn't work. This one is correct, but this one is not correct because it's measuring from here to this place. Do you understand? So anytime you want to use your baseline and your continuous, you should know where you're picking first. So this is what I would have done. So I would have run my command from here to this place for my first dimension. Then once I'm done, I can now go to my continuous and then continue from there all the way. So what I'm doing now is just clicking, 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 clicking. So once I'm done, I'll press enter. So for me to do the vertical one, that means I have to have another dimension for the vertical section before I can go to the continuous. So I will have to say from here all the way to this place. So I can just trace this. I can actually click here, then move up all the way here. Once I'm done with this, because I clicked here first, so continue, we'll continue from there. Click, click. Once I'm done, press enter. Do you understand? All right, so I'll delete this, guys, and delete this. Then we'll go to baseline, so you see the difference. So if I come here, run my dimension again from here to here, and go up. Then instead of me using baseline continuous, I can say baseline. So for baseline, after here, I want to go to this place. After there, I want to go to this place. And once I'm done, go on an empty space. You still go on empty. Just press escape to stop. All right, so you can see the difference between baseline and continuous. So baseline always reference to the base point where you started the first dimension. All right. So we can actually use this in our floor plan. So you don't really need to start using your linear, click from here to here, move up. So if you have your dimension, okay, so this is the application now. So let's assume we have our from here all the way to this place. So let me just use my tracing to trace here. And let's assume we are going to, so let me look at my line from here to here. Okay, let's just say 1.5. We'll do an offset. I will join these guys. J for join, remember that. Then O for offset, 1.5. Select this, go in for the word. So I want to do another line. So maybe one line will be here. Hold down my shift to constrain this here. Escape. So since I'm using it 1.5 here, so let's say my interior wall should be 1. Just so O for offset, 1. O for offset, 1. Pick this here, pick that here. Actually, I'm supposed to go inside, but then that's by the way. So let's just say this is it. Then I want to do my window. So let's just say this is my window. I'm going to have a line from here to here. and do another line from here to here. One line from here to this place. Then I'll just copy this guy. See for copy. So let's assume I have a window here, have one more here, have another one here. Let's just assume this. So I want to do the dimension for this wall. I can actually do that by clicking on my normal linear. So I can say from this point to this point, bring up the dimensions. It's actually too long, but that's bring up this. Then once I'm done with this, I can just go to my continuous. Then I want to get for, oh man, it's going to be a problem. Okay, we'll come back to this. Let's go to the next thing, which is the dimension style. Because now the text is too big. I need to set my dimension style to make it smaller to accommodate for the text. So that will bring us to the next one. The same way we did for the text style. We can also create a dimension style. So notice in the case for this guy, my dimension is kind of the text is too large. So I don't want my text to be this large. So in this case, I want my text to be something like this. Something like this. So 0.7, sort of. All right. So I'm going to delete this. So let's try and create our own dimension style. Shortcut, you don't like it, dim style. But if you don't want shortcuts, it's here. The same way we brought text style, I told you that this is one way of bringing text style, clicking on this guy. The same way for dimension, this is one way of bringing our dimension style. Or you can go to the dimension style page drop down, you have your manage dimension style. All right. So if I click on dimension style, don't forget 0.7, right? Then we notice we have two dimension style, annotative and ISO. So I want to create a new one from this ISO. So I'll just click on new. Then it's going to take me in your own case. I think in my own case, I only have annotative. It's actually possible. It's possible depending on the drawing or the scale you are choosing or the standard you are choosing. I started with metric. I don't know whether it's with metric or so, but then it's possible. So if I click here and I come here, I won't start from here. I'll just say new. So I'll just give this a name, Joe Teamstar, for instance. So I'll continue. Then I want to start from my ISO first. So I'll continue from there. Then it's going to load up this dimension start setting. So we have our line, we have our symbol, we have our text, feet, units, and so on. So let's come from lines. So for the line, this line tab only talks about the line settings for your dimension. So when we're talking about the line settings, we have two types of lines that makes up our dimension. We have our dimension line and we have our extension line. The dimension line is one that has this arrow, and the extension line is what extends from the object. So you notice you have the dimension line, you have your extension line. So under a dimension line, I can give it a particular color that I want. Maybe I want it to be green. So the dimension line is the one that has the arrow. Then I can change the line type. I can change the thickness of the dimension line. We'll get to property in a bit. Then we have our baseline. Then we have extend beyond tick, we don't need that. Baseline spacing, we actually don't need that. Then for the suppress is what will suppress this arrow. So if I say suppress dimension line 1, it takes away this arrow, dimension line 2, takes away this, so you don't have any line. But they are there, but I want to have mine. Then the next thing is our extension line. The extension line is this guy. You notice when I was dimensioning that line, I brought dimension up. It was hard to tell the difference between the object itself and the dimension. So you can actually use this extension to push this dimension away from the object so that you can tell, you can see the difference. So if I come to the extension line, let's look at, I can also change the color. So let's be consistent. I want to have green color with this. Then extension line, these ones are Then the thickness, you can also suppress. You have that. But we don't want to suppress. We want to still have that extension line, but we just want to shift it away from the object. And that's coming to this place. You see offset from origin. So the offset from origin is what shifts this guy away from the object. So if we come to the offset from origin, we'll give this a particular value. So let's say we want to give it value 1. You notice what happens here. Shift a little bit. You can't see, but let me put it very drastic change. Let me just say 7. So it shifts this extension line away from this object so that you can tell the difference. You don't mix them together. All right, so I'll leave mine at I think 4. 4 is fine. I still want to have them. Then we have this extend beyond dimension line. So this is the extent at which it goes beyond your dimension line. If I don't want it to extend beyond dimension line, I can make it 0. It's going to be exactly at that dimension line. So let's say I'll extend mine at 3 beyond dimension line. So those are the 2 lines and the settings, the major settings you need. Then the next one is your arrow. Under your arrow, you see this arrow symbol. You can choose whatever symbol you want. Some people like tick. The architects, they usually use ticks. Some people like dots. Some like box. Anyone you want, you can just come here. So for your first, you have your first and your second. So if I say for my first, I want to use dots, you notice it changes to dots and automatically affects the second. So if I want to now override, I can go to the second and change it to whatever I want. You understand? Some people like using arrow, some people like using this. So, and some people like using architectural tick. Right? So you can use any one. So which one should we use? Tick, right? So we have this. Then we have our arrow size. Another thing I like doing is that I like making my arrow size the same thing as my dimension size. That text, this dimension text. So that means if I'm choosing text size of 2, my arrow I also like making it 2. Do you understand? So remember in the case of this guy, we said we want to use 0.7, right? So that means my dimension, my arrow size, I'll make it 0.7. It's going to look very small, don't worry. And this will still in turn affect me coming back here to change some of this value. Don't mind you. So now that we have this, we actually don't need anything here. So the next thing we go to is our text. So for this text, I want to change the text to, I want to change the color. So where? Here or there? Okay, so the leader is, there will be times where the object you want to get dimension of is too small and text cannot fit into it. You create like a curve that goes out, but if that thing is not leader. So what I mean is, you have this object, you want to dimension this object, and you want to give dimension to this object, stuff like that. I want to give dimension to this guy. Considering the size you are using, it will not fit into it. So there will be more like a curve or an arc or a that would be dimension. So this thing is the data. Just so if you are using arrow for this, what do you want to use for this data? That's what it's asking. So maybe for the leader, I will use dots. So anytime I'm having a leader going out, I'll have a dot. But I think let's use this field arrow. So if you go to your text, we bring the text size to 0.7. Then the color, let's make it green still. And you notice everything is now, so because we changed the text style to the same size with the arrow now, it's now showing us that this guy is off place. So we have to come back and change it accordingly. Do you understand? So we bring this to maybe let's try one. One is fine, and let's say this one also one. Let's say 1.5. Okay, can you see? So you have to be going back and forth to change. So anytime you change something, you have to come back and it will have effect on another thing. Then the other thing I also would do is if you want to have this text, you want to have it to have a fill color. You can choose a particular fill color for the text and that gives it, even though that doesn't look. But let's leave it as none. Then the placement of your text. For the horizontal one, you want to always be above. You can see, so you can say maybe I want it to be below. So you can just change all these things. Maybe you want it to be center. So all these settings are there for you to use. Then for the horizontal, which is the vertical. Okay, so what this means is that this vertical and horizontal is not talking about this guy. It's not, what it's saying is that, in word processing, so if you are in Excel sheet, for instance, you want to place your text. In Excel sheet, you want to place your text. There is what we call the vertical alignment and horizontal alignment. So vertical alignment is aligning this way, and horizontal is aligning it this way. So it's possible for me to say I want to align for my horizontal alignment. For my horizontal alignment, I want this guy to be on the left. That's what it means. And for the vertical alignment, I don't want it to be centered, I want it to be bottom. So if I'm saying for horizontal, I want left, for vertical, I want bottom, that means my object will be somewhere here. Do you understand? Don't get it. Let's assume this is green. This is more like screen. And I have an object that I want to place inside this box. Everything. How do I align this object? We have two alignments, horizontal alignment and vertical alignment. And for the horizontal alignment, what you usually have for horizontal alignment is either left, center, right. Meaning either you want it to be on the left, center, or right. It only has horizontal movement. We now have a vertical alignment, which is a vertical movement. Then for the vertical movements, you have three types of alignment. You have the top, middle, and the bottom. Do you get it? So what that means is that you want either you want it to be this way. So if you bring these two together, that's what it is. You understand? So in the case for this vertical now, instead of saying top, you are saying above, center, below. Do you understand? But for the horizontal, you're going to see all these things. So you can set all these things to what you want. But that's by the way. Then for the feet, nothing here. I don't really change anything here. I don't know what. Then for the primary unit, the first thing I will look at is if you notice your decimal value, you see you have 3 points. This instead of us having dots, we are having a comma. So we can change our decimal separator from being a comma to period. That's the first thing. Then unit format, what format do you want? Is it going to be decimal? Is it going to be architectural? Is it going to be scientific? Whatever thing you want. Do you understand? So let's just leave it at decimal since the normal drawing unit length is decimal. All right, so once we are fine with this, then we can just, okay, and that would have created a dimension. So if we click close, and it makes it our current dimension. So if we go and run our dimension, if we go and run this thing now, look at what happens. Click from here to this place. It's now correct. Everything is now in place. You can see that I now have enough offset from the. So I think this guy, I would bring this all the way up because of this space. So once I'm done with this now, I can now say, okay, do continuous. So I can add my windows, add my doors, my walls. So look at that leader that I was talking about, Mr. Falabi. Can you see the leader? That one. Because that space for that wall is small. Are you with me, sir? Leave your system. I'm recording. Watch it on. Watch what I'm doing first. Just look. It's because you're not looking at what I'm doing. So I'll click. I'll click. I missed somewhere here. But that's by the way. Just okay. You undo. So I'll click. I can add my door. Can add this, and add that. So once I'm done, press enter. So you can actually use this for your architectural dimension. Then if you want to do for this place also, you have to start from dimension and start using this. So this is the leader you were asking for, you talked about, you see, adding your leader. Okay. And that's another one. Do you have any questions so far? What's your question? Is in the video. You can't draw what? You can't draw. You can't draw. What is it giving you? And because your text is small, so you have to set your that's why I was explaining it's small, you have to zoom into it to see your you just because you don't set this, you set it. So you will not see, you have to zoom into it. Which is why I was explaining how you can also yeah, but then it's in the video. So that's so I'll go over it again, but I'll be fast now. So you notice this particular style is okay for this the scale of this drawing. But if I want to do this, if I'm to use the same text dimension for this, it will be small. Hope you know that. If I say okay, I want to dimension from here to here, without 225. This is the issue you are running into. So it's small. I have to zoom into this for me to see it. So that means in this drawing, I need to have a separate dimension star that will accommodate for this size of the drawing. So I have to go to my dim star to run another dimension star. So before I do that, I need to know the size that I'm looking for. So which is what I told you that I like using line to look at a particular size. So let's assume I want my dimension to have this size, maybe 10. Right? If you look at the value I'm having for this size, 9, 10 is fine for me. So this is just for me to check before I start creating anything. So now that I've confirmed the dimension I want to use, I can just go to my dim star. This is it. Or you click here, manage dimension star. Stay the same. All right, so I'm going to create a new one. So I'll be fast now. Create a new one. Call this Joe dimension style pick or two. So I'll continue. So I don't want to start from this guy. I don't want to start from it. I'll just start from this ISO. I'll continue. Then it loads up this. Then if I go to my line, you know all these things. So I said, first off, let me go to my text. I said I want my text to be 10. So I'll make this 10 just to be clear first. You notice because I chose 10, my arrow now seems too small. So I have to go to my arrow. Like I said, I always like having the same value. Even if the arrow is going to be small, maybe like a little bit smaller. So if I say 8, fine. If I say 10, fine. All right. So that is that. Then the other thing I'm going to do is I will leave all this arrow as is. Then for the dimension line, the extension from the origin is too close to the origin. So let's say I want my extension to be 5. So if I'm using 10, so maybe the extension 8 is fine for me. And this one, maybe we'll just put 3. Can we try 12? I think this is fine. Then another thing we'll also try and check is this, we want to make sure we are using period, not comma, right? I think everything is fine here. That's just basically everything I need to do. Remember I created a text style for Joseph. If I want to choose, I can actually choose that text style if I like it. I can be consistent and be choosing that instead of me changing every time. So how I can do that is go to my text. So instead of me choosing this 10, height 10, I can just come to this text style, choose the jotted style. If I just choose the jotted style, you notice the size is 15. So if I like that, I can go with that. Do you understand? So we have that. So let's just change it back because I think that 10 is fine. So we just go back to the standard and make this, I think 9. 9 is fine. So once I'm done with this, I'll okay and then close. I now have my, so if I go to my dimension now, this should look compared to this. So in a drawing, I already have two dimension style for two different purposes. So that's why you need to learn how to create your own style. So in a drawing, you can, okay, like the assignment I gave us. There are some drawings that were too small, some were, so now you have to be creating a separate dimension style for them if you want to start putting dimension. Because if you are to use one, you would find that one dimension style might work for one of them, but for the other one would not. It would either be too small or too big. Which is why you need to learn how to create your dimension style. So you can create dimension style for different objects in the drawing, or you can just choose them. And another thing as a tip is that while creating dimension style, you can name them after the particular drawing. So maybe in that same AutoCAD drawing, you did 2D-5, 2D-6, 2D. They have different dimension style. You can just create a dimension style, name it after that drawing. Maybe dimension 2D-1. So you know that that is that dimension style you're going to be using for that 2D-1 drawing. Do you understand? Am I making any sense? So, so that's it for dimension and how to create your own style. Then there is one more thing I'll talk about here, but now not now. By the time we get to isometric, which is this oblique, that's when we're going to talk about this dimension style. So that's all for dimension. So the next one is leader. This center line is out of our scope, is not here. So we go to our leader. So leader is more of labeling. We want to label objects. So also just the same way we have two types of text, single line text, multi-line text. We also have two types of leader, leader and multi-leader. It's not called single leader, just leader. Then we have multi-leader. But the thing with these leaders is that there is no icon. Mr. Afolabi, there is no icon for leader. You have to know the command. You have to know the command. There's no icon for it. Are we together? I said we have two types of leaders, leader and multi-leaders. And the thing with this, you have leader, it's called leader, and we have multi-leader. Multi-leader, there is command for multi-leader, sorry, there's icon to click on multi-leader, which is what you're seeing here. But for leader, there is no icon. So you have to know the command. And you would also want to tell me that if we go to home tab, there is this leader here now. Where is it? Leader, right? So you say, but this is leader now, so this is icon for leader. This is not leader, this is a multi-leader. You can see what it's saying. Create a multi-leader. Even though it reads leader, it's multi-leader. So there is no icon in AutoCAD. Okay, let me not say that. I've not found the icon for leader since I've been using AutoCAD. So you have to know the command. Do you understand? So the shortcut or the command for leader is, like I said, if you can't just type it in full, leader. Do you understand? Then for multi-leader, M leader or M lead. Do you understand? So let's look at them. Let's start with the leader. And the leader is just a very simplified way of labeling. So it's very simple. You click where you want to label, click where you're landing, click the extension line, press enter, then you can put your text. Very simple. Just so let's look at it. So since there's no icon, we just have to type. So if I type lead, it's going to show me leader. I'll press enter. Then it's going to tell me to specify, can you specify leader start point? So leader start point is always on the object you want to label. So let's assume I want to label this guy. So leader start point, I'll click here. It's asking me to specify leader next point. Can you specify next point? So let's assume I'm specifying here as my next point. It's asking me to specify the next point or annotation format undo. So because I want to create this extension line after this, before I start, so I'll just hold down shift to temporarily change this to auto mode. Right? So I'll hold down shift and put all the way to where I want it to go to. If I click here, and it will keep telling me to specify next point, next point, next point. But if I'm done, I have to press enter to stop specifying next point. If I press enter, then it will tell me to enter first line of my annotation text. Right? So maybe my first line is going to be circle. If I press enter, the next line, so maybe it has a particular radius. So maybe the radius is radius 15, for instance. I'm not sure. So I'll press enter, and it's going to label this. Do you understand? So that's leader, how simple it is. And also, mind you, you can see the scale we have here. So if I come to this place and I want to label this, notice that we are going to have a too large. Do you understand? So starting point from here, here, hold down shift to constrain this, here, enter, then I can put in text. So this is going to be my wall. Enter, put in the bracket, concrete. Consider this quite too large to this. So the reason why we're having this is because the leader, so if we go back to this guy, the leader is using our standard, do you understand? It's using this standard leader style. And the standard leader style has its own, so if I select the standard and I go to modify, it has its own size, everything. Do you understand? Okay, so that's leader. So let's go to the next one. Leader really doesn't have, it doesn't have settings. Do you understand? It doesn't really have settings. Oh, sorry, I missed something. I misinterpreted something. Leader is not using this guy. It is multi-leader that will use this guy. Do you understand? All right, so please, let's note that. So I'm going to delete this. For leader, I think there's option for it. So if I select this, this just to edit. Okay, so once you select this guy, after you've created it, you double click on this text. It's going to take you to a multi-line text where you can highlight it and change your, all right, so if I come here, I can change this to, maybe I want it to be 3, press enter, close. Okay, so let's look at the next one, multi-leader. So I rarely use leader, and I'll tell you why. And the reason why I don't use leader is because of this functionality which we have under, you can add leader, we can remove leader, we can align leader, we can collect leader. So we can't do that with normal leader. It only works for multi-leader. I'll show us. So, but then, before then, let's just look at multi-leader, how multi-leader works. So if I click on multi-leader, it's going to tell me to specify leader arrow location or arrowhead location. It's the same thing as leader start point for leader. So where you want to label. So let's assume this is our arrow head location. Click. The next thing is asking us to specify is landing. Unlike leader, specify next point, right? So if we specify here as our landing, notice what happens. It didn't tell us to specify next point so that we can choose our extension. It's just saying we should put in text. So if we say, okay, let's put in our text, circle, enter, radius, maybe this is going to be radius 40, then we close. Can you see that this is quite small? And this is what is using the standard. If you notice when we check the standard, the text size what is 0.18. You notice, if you click here, under the standard, if you modify, go to the text, see the text height is 0.18, so it's very small. So that's why we can't say anything. So for us to have a proper leader stuff, we need to go and create our own leader stuff. So if you notice, right, you can see the trend. For every of these annotation elements, we are creating styles for them. All right. So let's go and create our own leader style. So I'm going to delete this guy and go and create my own leader style. So I'll just click manage multi-leader style. Then I'll create new multi-leader from here. Then from there, we'll be looking at. So this is what I want before I start creating. I think I like this size, right? I think we chose 3. Let me double click here. Okay, so this is 9. So 9 is fine. Then another thing is every time I add my multi-leader, I want to have an extension line that is this length. So let's just say 60. Do you understand? Do you get what I'm saying? This horizontal line. Every time I'm placing the multi-leader, I want to have this horizontal line of that length, 60. All right, please, you will see why I'm saying that. Let me add this multi-leader so you see why I will want that. So if I leave it here and I type something close, you notice that by default there's this extension line. It's just very small. So we need to create our own and set our extension so that we can have a particular length. So it's using a particular length, but that length is quite small for us. So I'll delete it. So if we go to our multi-leader star and we create a new one, so we'll call this Joe leader style, and we click on continue. So it's going to load this multi-leader style. So we have our leader format, leader structure, and content. All right. So let's start from our leader format. So the leader format, we have general, what type is it going to be? So now this line you are seeing here, what type of line do you want? We have straight, that's why we have this. We can decide to say, okay, we want it to be spline. And we can decide to say we don't want anything. So anyone you want, you can choose. But let's just leave it as straight. Okay, since I said I want to have that line, that extension. Then the next thing is we have our arrowhead. I said we want to have a size of what? 9. So I want to be consistent. My arrowhead is going to be 9. Then the leader break. That leader break is this guy. All right, okay. But let's look at it. No, that's not it. Sorry. This line is not the leader break. So what I need here is just this guy. So if I go to my leader structure, it's inside this leader structure, I will see this. And set your landing distance. This is the landing distance. So the landing distance as of now is 0.3. So I said I want ours to be what, 60 every time. So I'll change this to 60. Okay, please. Can you see it's quite too large? Don't worry. Until we come to our content and change our text. So if we change our text to 9, then we can start to see. Do you understand? So we can see more. So let's go back to the structure. So the maximum leader point. So the maximum leader point is set to be 2 by default. So why is it 2? Remember from multi-leader, it only asks us to specify 2 points. Arrowhead, landing. Once you click on landing, it tells us to put in text. we can decide, say, okay, we don't want to have 2 points, we want to have 3 points. So to act of arrowhead, first point, next point. So you can see the order at which we are going to put in one, two. So by default, because it's two, that's why we have one, two before we can put in text. If we want to have 3 points before we can put in text, we can choose it here. Then it will ask us for 3 points before text will show up for us to put in. Do you understand? But because I've already set this landing, then there's no, I don't need the 3 points. 2 points is okay for me. Then what else? I think automatically include landing. Yeah, then it should automatically include landing. Then if I don't want to include landing, then I can now utilize this 3 points. Am I making any sense? So if I don't want to include this landing, then if I turn this off, then I can now start to say, okay, I can now automatically put my own landing. There will be times where the landing might not be up to 60. Let's include landing so I can show you, create another one without landing so you see what I'm saying. So for the content, the type of content we are going to be showing here, we have text, we have block, and we also have none. So if you don't want to have any content here. And if you want to have block, so block, you can choose a particular symbol for your block, and that's it. But because we want to put in text, we have not talked about block yet. So we are going to just go back to text. So the text, we are choosing a particular size and everything is. Then we have a landing gap, the gap between this line and the text. So let's say we want to have a gap of, let's say 10, for instance. So that means we're going to have space in between. You can already see. So let's say this is fine. We just okay that, and that is our first. So let's quickly create another one for the two so that you can see that. So I'll just new. I want to start from standards. Okay, we'll continue from this guy. We'll just go and change that stuff. Continue, then go to the structure. We're going to remove this automatic this and make this 3. So that means we pick first one, next one, third one before putting text. So once we are done with this and we just click on OK. So now we have copy. So I think we can rename by right clicking on this and just get rid of this guy, MJO leader style 2. So we have style 1 and style 2. We are going to see both of them. So if did I change that one to 3? I changed this second one 3. The let me see. Okay, this is what I want to see. So I've changed it. So let me just close. All right, so let's look at the first one first, which is this Joe star. So if I go to my leader, it asks me to specify first point. Notice I chose this to be 2. So if I pick here as my first point, no, this is the first one, 2. The next one is landing location. If I click here as my landing location, it's going to automatically give us that length, which is 60, and also add that 10 distance from the text. So we can say this is circle R40, right? Then we close. You notice it only asks us to put 2 points. So let's switch from here to the second one. That doesn't we for this one we said we don't want to automatically add landing, but we want to pick 3 points. So if I come in and specify this, I can say it's asking me for start point here. It's asking for next point. Notice it's not saying landing anymore. This is the next point. So you notice I've clicked on my first point. The next point is my second point. It's asking for leader landing position. So I'll just move my mouse all the way here. So this, I can say I don't want this one to be up to 60, but I want it to be more than 60. So let's say I want it to be here. If I click here, you notice it's asking for text. So I can say shape, curve. So you see the difference between, you can see that for this one, I click 3 points, that one 2 points, yeah. It looks similar, but this one, I'm the one that chose the direction, the length for myself. But for the first one, we've already set the landing position. And we also said we should just pick 2 points.
Because I thought for the leader, the president of Tanzania, it doesn't give that or if it's going to give that or
You mean this one?
yes.
But it's not supposed to because we chose 2 points. But in the setup, we already included land. We said it should automatically add landing. And this is the landing. So when we chose automatically add landing, it now asks us what distance we want to land. So that's why we had this. But for the second one, we said it should not automatically add landing. That was why we chose 3. Do you understand? So that it will allow us to pick 3 points. So that's just. So now look at these guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another leader here. Just normal leader, not multi-leader. So you see what I'm trying to say. So I'll click here, so they look alike. Enter. It's asking me to put in my text, so it's going to be shape to curve. All right, so let's look at it. So we have this text here, okay? This one also is leader, so it's fine. So this is leader, this is multi-leader. So I can actually delete this. So let me put a multi-leader here. So it's asking for next point, the third point, and I can just say shape to curve. Okay, so we have this. So let's now see why leader is not really. You see the disadvantage of using leader. So I have 3 multi-leaders here and 1 leader. So if you look at these leaders now, they don't look aligned, right? You can see they don't look aligned. But let's start with so let's assume I'm creating another circle here. Let me copy this guy and move it somewhere here. So you know they have the same radius value. So I can, instead of me labeling this, I can actually use one label for 2 different objects or multiple objects, which is where this add leader comes into play. All right. So if I go to add leader and it tells me to select multi-leader. So since these guys are what I want to label together, so I'm supposed to select this guy, right? But it's telling me to select multi-leader. If I click on this, it will tell me that the object selected was not a multi-leader. So it doesn't work for normal leader. It only works for multi-leader. If I click on this now, this works because this one is a multi-leader. Do you understand? So all these tools, all these other things, they will only work for multi-leader, not for leader. So before you start using leader, you need to think: is there a situation where I have to use one label for different objects? Am I going to be aligning my labeling? Am I going to be doing all these things? If you are going to be doing all those things, then you don't want to use leader. Just do your settings and use multi-leader. Do you understand? Because right now I can now say, okay, click here, and once I'm done, I'll press enter, and it labels this also. Do you understand? Then I also have option to delete multi-leader. So if I say delete multi-leader, it's going to tell me to select multi-leader to delete from. So I can select any of these ones that are joined together. So if I select any one, either this or that, or both, if I just select, so it's saying one found. It's now saying specify leader to remove. So I want to remove this guy from this leader. Once I have that selected, I'll press enter. I'll do it again. So I want to label this same guy with this. So I'll just say add leader. So it will tell me to select multi-leader first. I want to add from this guy. I want to label it to this guy. I also want to label to this guy and to this guy. Let's just say, once I'm done, I'll press enter. Okay, so if I want to remove multi-leader, I can just say remove multi-leader. It will tell me to select multi-leader. So these leaders that are joined in this chain, you can select any of them. No, it won't. It will still ask you to select the ones you want to remove. That's why I said you can select anyone. Since this is the main one, if I click on this, it's saying one found. Now specify leaders to remove. So this is when you can now start clicking on those things you want to remove. So once you are done clicking on them, you press enter. It's going to run. All right. Then the next one is you have your align multi-leader. So you can actually align them because you can see in the case of this guy, they are not aligned. See, this one is here, this is here, that's here. It won't work for this because this is not a multi-leader. So let's say align. If you click on align multi-leader, it's going to tell me to select multi-leaders. So I'll select all the multi-leaders that I want to align. Notice as I'm selecting, it's selecting them. But as soon as I select this, it's saying one was filtered out, three total. These are the three that are total. So this is not selecting because this is not a multi-leader. I'm clicking, keep clicking all day long. It won't work for it. Do you understand? So once I'm done selecting these multi-leaders, I'll press enter to confirm. It will now ask me to select multi-leader to align to. So all these leaders I've selected, which one do I want to align all of them to? So let's assume I want to align to this guy. So if I click here, then now I have this, I can now place the direction. So let's hold down shift. Once I hold down shift to make sure everything is straight, I'll click. All of them is now aligned. You can see. Do you understand? So this go. Do you understand? So that's it for multi-leader. We've learned how to create our own leader style and how to use that. Do you have any question before I go to the table? Hmm? Break. This is the one. We're just talking. And this is the last thing. Eh? This is the last thing here. Okay, let's just pause here. Stop today's class here. Then on Friday we'll continue. We'll do this leader table before we go to work. So now the classwork for us now is before 1:30. These are already to work. So let's just do 1 hour classwork and go. I know we have well ahead. I didn't even look at the time. For one. Okay, let's use 30 minutes to do something. So we are not working. All this assignment I've been giving you guys. Now start putting the dimension. That's what we're taught today. Text, dimension. So let's dimension them. Look at those drawings. How the dimensions look. Let's dimension them. Where it needs leveling, let's level. Do you get what I'm saying? So we are not drawing. We are just doing dimension on those things we have done that you are saying. So let's just do that.